Thanks for being here. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about some things that are going on in the athletic department, just kind of some quick updates. One, it's nice for football to be back. Obviously, we've got soccer and volleyball started as well, but with a few months off of athletic events, it's good to be back and clearly excited about where we are from a football program standpoint, from a stability standpoint, and then a roster standpoint. Obviously, we have depth in a lot of positions, and so excited about what's going to happen this fall. Our season ticket number is right at 14,500. Our Pirate Club staff has been calling all the people that have non-renewed, so we're continuing to beat that drum. I do think we can get over 15,000, which would be a really good number in our league. If you look nationally at schools like us, the Pirates are definitely in the upper third of where our peers are as it relates to football season tickets, so need to continue to push that. The Pirates Unite campaign is going really well. That was a $60 million campaign. We've got 23 million raised in about 15 months. So really encouraged what Ryan Robinson, our Pirate Club staff, has done in our donor base. Just really pleased with where that is. Record-breaking numbers in 2022. Our indoor building, we're right around 15 million raised on that. I'd like to get to 20 million by December. I think ultimately that building is going to be somewhere between 22 and 25 million to construct. So pretty far down the path with where that building is. Our baseball building, we've got about 4.4 million raised on what we're estimating is about a $7 million project. We've got our teams building expansion that we continue to look at to give more space for our Olympic sports teams. Our Minji's lighting, for those of you that experienced Minji's towards the end of basketball season, we actually began work today to replace our lights in Minji's. Those will be LED lights. So really encouraged and excited about atmosphere-wise what that'll bring. Obviously, we'll be able to do new colors and different things. And then in September, we will install new seats on the lower level north side. Those will be chair back retractable seats that will be located behind the team benches. We're also going to make a walkway from the bottom all the way to the top section. So you'll actually be able to go from right behind the benches or the floor and walk up the middle to go to restrooms, concessions, etc. And we do think that our ebb and flow of foot traffic will change with that. And I think it'll be a really nice addition, both for those individuals that sit there, but also I think when we do our ESPN Plus streaming or it's on TV, that's going to be a heightened addition. It will certainly make the arena a lot more presentable. The other thing I wanted to talk about just briefly, and I'll be happy to take any questions that anyone has, is if you look over the last 48 months in intercollegiate athletics, there has been what I would call turmoil and chaos on a lot of fronts. Obviously, you have the transfer portal that came about. You have NIL, name, image, and likeness, which I'm supportive of our student athletes being compensated for that. It just is realignment. Is the topic for the next few hours, and so it is all getting a strobe light effect here. It is a there's a lot going on in intercollegiate athletics, and we're all reacting to it. As it relates to our realignment, I'm on the phone with our conference office weekly, getting updates of where we are. Certainly, as you look across the landscape, I don't think that realignment is going to stop for a while. I think it's going to be, continuous for a good amount of time. And I want to assure everyone, the Pirates are in a good place. We sell a lot of tickets. We have a lot of people come to our games. If you look at our ESPN and ESPN Plus broadcast, we are on the higher end of our peers. And so we are doing a lot of good things. Our athletic footprint from a facility standpoint is in really good shape. Obviously, the buildings that I mentioned earlier, football, baseball teams building, the new weight room expansion, our footprint is continuing to grow and presents itself very well. I do believe our commissioner has a good foothold of what's going in the landscape of realignment and is keeping us abreast of where things are. I've said it a bunch and will continue to say it. The more things that we can be the best version of ourselves, the better we, look from an attractiveness standpoint, and the more revenue we create for ourselves in the American athletic. And that means we've got to continue to invest. We've got to continue to grow our brand. There is, the opportunity to create additional revenue that we need to do to make ourselves be the best version of ourselves. And so it's not something that I talk about every day, but I felt like it was important to address it given the nature of where it is with realignment. And look, there are a lot of rumors out there of this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and you can't stop that. And all I know is we're in a very good place at ECU, both from a conference standpoint, financially, what we receive, and then the biggest piece in my mind is how we're distributed or how we're seen. We are a solid partner with ESPN, and we've got really high ESPN Plus numbers that are very good for the Pirates. So I'll open any questions or any topics you all want to talk about.
And you wake up some mornings and say, look, if we had these West Coast schools, it's just going to be disastrous for our budget. I mean, that's got to be one of the things.
Well, I think when you look at realignment and you look what's gone on, going back in time to I think about the SEC adding Missouri and Texas A&M, and then different leagues follow. The finances are real, but I also think your broadcasting partner, they also have to be willing to help fund those things. And so it really is complex when you look at realignment. And then you also have exit fees. And I go back to, the schools that are no longer in our league. Connecticut, Central Florida, Houston, and Cincinnati, they're all paying significant fees to leave the leagues. And in some regard, we're benefiting from that because, our reserve fund and the funds that we get from the American, those schools are all paying in those exit fees that we're going to benefit financially from that.
Based on what you know today, would you be for or against adding the Pac-4 teams that are remaining out there?
I don't have enough information to answer that question. Meaning, you got to go back to what a financial model looks like, and your television partner has to convey to the commissioner what that would be. And I don't think you can really make a an educated stance on that unless you know all the variables. And those variables, we're playing the hypothetical game, but the hypothetical game is how much distribution are all the schools going to get? Is it a tiered model? And then what does the league look like? Are there divisions? Are you having to go west now? If I could be the commissioner of college athletics for a day, the one thing I would do, outside largely of football, I am a big believer in regional scheduling. And it just makes too much sense in my mind. We don't talk about the student athlete experience and what we're all doing financially. Like, right now we fly a lot of our teams to Texas and Tulsa and other places to compete that from a revenue generation standpoint, that they're not where they generate revenue. And so I think to answer, do we want these teams or that team in order to make a fully educated guess or stance on that, it would have to be, I'd have to have a lot more information.
Has there been any discussion about ECU moving conferences, or has been anyone reaching out to ECU?
I don't want to get into like private conversations that I've had. I continue as the director of athletics to advocate for our institution, and I point out all the many positives that this athletic department and this institution brings. And I do think it starts at home. We're a significant value to the American athletic. If you look at our, again, ticket sales, viewership, we're in the top of our league, or right there with one or two other schools, and we're competitive. So the best I do is advocate for exactly where we are and what that is.
I was going to ask, from a conference realignment standpoint, when people are reporting on this, they always mention, Tulane, SMU, Memphis, ECU maybe not mentioned in that. Is that, part of the frustration? Maybe you feel like ECU doesn't get the recognition it deserves?
I don't really, like the people that are mentioning that, I really don't pay attention to.
Right.
There's so much speculation. Like I do, not to talk about other leagues other than in this regard. The Mountain West schools have a $34 million exit fee. The AAC, depending on how much notice you give, it could be somewhere between 15 and 20 million plus, to exit the league. Mountain West is 34 million. So like when everybody sees the diagram of East West and you see all these Mountain West schools, that's a $34 million price tag for them to leave. That's steep. And so I think a lot of it is speculation, and it's the rumor mill, and all of that will continue to play itself out.
From a financial standpoint, what do you think of the tiered system that's kind of breaking out in this new conference realignment? You can come to the party, but your piece of the pie is going to be much smaller.
Yeah, well, I think if, some of the conferences that have realigned, and you see the large talk in the ACC about a tiered distribution system, I think you have to look, if you look at one of the strongest leagues is the Southeastern Conference, and I spent 20 plus years in that league. There is a consistent distribution model in that league. Now, some teams make more than others depending on NCAA units in basketball and some other things, but by and large, the distribution's pretty equal. I think from a positive standpoint, if you go to a tiered model, depending on the league you're in, the tiered model, if we do it on actual viewership, not your TV market, I feel pretty good about where the Pirates are, because we do get a lot of people that watch our events. I get the ESPN Plus numbers, Greg Pierce and his staff that produce our games. When you pull up a baseball game or a soccer game or, whatever it is a very high level production. So I would feel pretty good about, being in a model that is based on, viewership. I certainly would be open to that.
How much are you on the phone right now with all this going on, trying to decipher what's real and what's not?
Yeah, daily. I'm on the phone daily, making sure that, one, I have a full grasp of what's going on nationally, and then also certainly am keeping the chancellor abreast to, what is real and what the discussions are and financially where everything is. And so I feel really, we're in a good place right now, and I want to continue. We certainly have built back, I think, some stability in our football program, but I think Coach Houston would echo this as well. We're not anywhere near where we want to be. We want to continue to grow and invest and make the Pirates a championship contender, and we're going to continue to strive for that.
You talked a little bit about NIL, and I know you guys have done some big things this year.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of give us a little bit of update on that?
Yeah, as it relates to name, image, and likeness, we are fortunate. We have a collective in town, Boneyard Collective, but we also have a lot of individuals that are operating outside of the collective that are providing name, image, and likeness opportunities for our student athletes. And that's, been pretty broad based. It is not limited to one sport. We have, student athletes from, track and field to lacrosse to women's basketball, and then certainly football, men's basketball have, some name, image, and likeness opportunities. And it is the, when I talked about the what's happened in intercollegiate athletics in the last 48 months, it's significant, because if you look at NIL, our coaches, and particularly in football and men's basketball, if we're going to attract a high-level student athlete, there have to be name, image, and likeness opportunities. If we're going to attract a transfer, there have to be significant name, image, and likeness opportunities, because all the schools that we're competing against, they have them. And so I know there are, quite a few people that, question the judgment of name, image, and likeness opportunities. I support them, I embrace them, and the better players that we can attract, the better teams we're going to have. And so I'm certainly supportive of name, image, and likeness opportunities.
You mentioned increasing revenue and creating some new revenue funnels. Is there one or two things that you're really focused on right now?
Well, it all starts with ticket sales. So the more we can garner there from just a base threshold, and selling out the tower is really important for what that means. I think we'll be able to accomplish that 2 years in a row, which is significant. We still have some premium and Williams Clark Club that we need to sell. I think concessions is another area. We've signed a new agreement with Aramark Sports Division. So we were partnered with the campus side of Aramark. Beginning this year, we're going to partner with the Aramark Sports Division. So the people that actually run major venues will be here. And so excited about what that will bring us from a revenue standpoint. The more success that you have, the more t-shirts and vending items you sell. Our revenue is actually up in those areas for a variety of reasons. And then the third piece that you really have to look at are all the contracts, all the third-party contracts that we have, making sure that we're utilizing those to the fullest to bring the most amount of revenue. And then we're also, we rent our athletic facilities out a good bit. We talk about having, concerts and other events in our venues to try to get additional revenue, and we will continue to look at those things.
Anything else for John?
Coach Houston just came in. Do you feel like it's feasible y'all could break ground on the indoor facility by early next year, or is that too steep of a goal? What do you feel about that?
Well, I think when based on where we are fundraising wise, if it is 22 to 25 million and we're at 15, my easy math says we've got about 10 million to go, which I think is doable and we can get there. Then you have the construction piece, and when you build something on a college campus, it takes time because you have to go through a lot of state processes. I think reasonable. I think we've got to get the cash before we, get to breaking ground. But I feel good about where we are and the direction. Our donors have really stepped up in a meaningful way, and they continue to do that. We just need to close the gap on this additional 10 million.